Guess who's pretty? You're pretty. But I have an introduction to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday. It is the 1st of October. It is 2013. And this is when I remember that I didn't pay my rent this month. Damn it! Crap! Ugh! Ugh! Fudge knuckles. Can't believe I forgot that. Oh, rat noggins. In today's daily number 637, we are going to unabashedly look at some 2-base all-in plays from TitaN. Except these are not your usual brand of 2-base all-in. No. Ordinarily with a 2-base all-in, we're exploiting some fancy timing where we're going to sit, we're going to use our build, and then we're going to attack! Camel Haya! Isn't that what it is? Is it Camel Haya? I think. Something like that. Normally that's the way that the timing, or that all-ins work. It's a, I'm going to stay cloistered back, push out once, end the game. In this, it's going to be much more of a fluid, much more of an aggressive style we're going to see out of TitaN, where he uses early attack tactics to bring his enemy down. As a little bonus, we're going to watch a pretty sweet game from TitaN versus Nerchio from their best of 3 in the WCS Europe round of 32. And then we're going to watch game 2, and then we're going to watch game 3. Done! Dunzo! In fact, it's going to be all-ins like you've never seen before. Particularly the second and third game are going to be a lot more aggressive. This first one is going to be just damn weird. I know you're excited about that. Next week's Fun Day Monday is the closest 3v3 of all time. I haven't made the event yet on Day 9 TV because I suck. But I'd like to give a shout out to those wonderful Fun Day Monday admins who made my life so easy yesterday by just snatching up 7 great games that I sorted through out of all the oodles and oodles. We're analyzing the player TitaN, and I watched the TV show Attack on Titan. Today is going to be rad. It's going to be rad diggity. I don't know if I have any other announcements. I'll be choosing my game for Friday tomorrow. Thanks for all your suggestions. Here we go. We're going to do 1 game in part 1, 1 game in part 2, and 1 game in part 3. So I believe. This will be a nice clean little daily. All sorts of things that we're going to steal. We've got TitaN up in the top left, and we've got Nerchio up in the top right. Nerchio is the fucking man. I love Nerchio. He's not as much the man as Tristan. Because Tristan got me a cookie that's almost the size of my face. Wow, it's so good. But other than Tristan, Nerchio's a fucking man. So this is a map, Frost. It's like Frost L-E or T-E. It's Frost, then with a letter and E. Big map, you have a natural expansion. You also have this ish third expo here. It's not clear if you should be taking that because you have these rocks that can be knocked down to allow for more passage. We also have this ish third base. It's not entirely clear what is the best third for a player to take. And whenever that's true, 2-base plays become very, very strong. But what kind of 2-base play? Watch the sweet opening from TitaN. Really have not seen anything like this in a long, long time. TitaN is going to be chrono boosting 1-2 times. Well, actually, he might cut this one. No, he does do that chrono boost. And there's a rather weird nexus on 14 that we're going to see. Now, when a player is building probes non-stop, we'll generally see a nexus on 16. It's the loudest motorcycle ever. But here it's on 14. And it seems a little bit unusual, but it's going to make more sense as time goes on. TitaN is not going to be going Forge first. He's not going to be adding in Defrage. He's actually going to go 14 Nexus and 14 Gateway. The Gateway is at a very specific location here providing 1 hex of space for a Zealot to be able to go down. And then the Chrono Boosts continue after that on the probe line, all sort of held back. TitaN again, planning right from the get-go to be going for a pretty aggro 2-base play. And we'll look a little bit more at TitaN's build before we hop back on over to Nerchio Town. But we see the usuals getting these extra gas geysers down. And it's time for us to begin to list off all the important timings that we know from a standard Zerg. What if this Zerg player opted to 6-pool us? We'd be in trouble, you're right. Very good. You're such an astute student, and so studious, and dubious, and indubitable, and protruding, and inscrutable, and flabubious. 6-pool does kill this opening from TitaN pretty gosh darn bad. However, TitaN is banking on the fact that this is Frost. This map is very awkward to scout on. Very, I mean, you can Overlord scout. I mean, we've seen this Overlord only just identify that there's nobody here. And if we opted to drone scout, I mean, you can see the sort of awkward path that we'd have to take around this backside and then up these rocks and then over again and then up here just to find out that he's not there. And the Zergling path is pretty circuitous as is. So this is a great map to cut corners on as Protoss. I mean, you technically can make the same argument for Whirlwind, where we actually do see some number of 6-pools, but this is a map where I don't think Protosses lean as heavily to going for the Nexus first because of the fact that there's no ramp. On Whirlwind, almost all Protosses and Terrans are doing some early expand-based thing because of the ramp. Yada yada yada, blah blah blah, whole bunch of metagame analysis. People don't 6-pool that much on this map. Was getting more into the Zerg side of the meta. Gotta stay focused on Protoss. Yeah, so this is reasonable. However, Nerchio, I will just tell you, went for 14 pool, followed by a hatchery. So the typical timing for that is that the pool finishes right around 3 minutes, which means that the Zerglings pop out right around 3:30. So indeed, we're going to see that this 14 gateway makes a heck of a lot of sense for us defensively. Because, as I speed this game up, I'm literally just watching this Zealot right now. Look at the timing. Zealot's popping out right now. Boom. I mean, like, impeccable, impeccable timing. So I'm going to note another thing right now before I do a little brief rewind. We can start to see now why it was 14 Nexus, 14 Gate. If we do 15 Nexus, 15 Gate, Zealot doesn't quite pop out in time. It's not as guaranteed. Nerchio is actually running his Zerglings just a little bit behind. Whoa, sorry, I'm going kind of fast. So we actually kind of do want this Zealot to be able to pop out to prevent dudes from getting up into our main base. So if 15-15 doesn't work, do we go Gateway first and then expand? TitaN does just a really simple move. He just cuts the probe on 15 so he can go 14 Nexus, 14 Gate, and have this Zealot out in time. Works out nicely because we even get the added benefit of that Chrono Boost there. So I talked a little bit about the Gateway timing. Now we're going to come back here and start to see the interaction of this build as a whole. TitaN getting his 2 assimilators up pretty simply to be able to get up Mothership Core and Sentry and Warp Gate all in rapid succession. Also, we have almost perfectly synced energy. Yeah, you see? Now, when I look at this opening from TitaN, the thing that I am expecting him to do is something really defensive with a twist, with some sort of attack. If you go for a Cybernetics Core, or excuse me, if you go for Gateway before Nexus, you're leveraging the early Cybernetics Core to do something like Warp Gate really fast, or something like Stargate really fast. If you go for Nexus before anything, you're hoping to get a whole lot of probes. So what the hell... Or you're hoping to get a whole lot of probes to win in a big late game scenario. So what the hell is this, right? Where we go Nexus and then into Gateway? Seems to be kind of fishy to me. Seems kind of like we're trying to do a little too much. Mothership Core comes out to be able to defend. And this actually I think was a really sweet move. Actually, this is one of the sweetest things. Holy crap, I didn't even catch this in the first game. Or in the first look through. I think he started the Mothership Core down here. Is that right? Yeah, he starts it here because Zerglings are here. Zerglings get up into the main. So he cancels the Mothership Core here and starts it up here. Really slick. So, as a rather clever little twist that we're going to see out of TitaN, he does a style that I've become very fond of after seeing Stardust have great success with it. He's going to open up with a double forge for really, really fast double upgrades. It's super, super hard for Zerg to deal with a well-upgraded Protoss, particularly quickly. Your gateway units become just astoundingly good. So in a sense, cutting the cannon, not getting any of that, with the relatively early gas lines up very nicely. We have ground weapons, we have ground armor. Very odd build, but we're going to see that it is a very good build. I'm going to pause here at 6:30. Boink. Right as these two assimilators go down. So we have this rather weird opening thus far. Let's start to walk through some possibilities as to what could be going down. Well, Zerg we kind of know is either just finishing up some geysers or maybe just starting. After 6 minutes, this is when we'll wind up seeing that sort of move from Zerg. Technically, Nerchio could be going for a 2-hatch play. He could be going straight into Mutalisks. We can see that Nerchio is not, but TitaN doesn't know that. So in other words, there's two broad categories of player that TitaN has to worry about. One is a player going for really, really, really fast layer, which would be mutas or infestors. Technically roaches, but we'll set that aside. Basically, fast infestors are fast mutas. We already sort of by default know our upgrades are going to be very, very good against an infestor-laying army. We're going to crush it pretty badly, especially considering how early we're going to be matching or faster than Zerg in the ups. Now, the other thing that the Zerg player could be doing is going for a 3-hatch, which would involve him relying more on lings and roaches early on, with that sort of first the Zergling speed and then the roach speed. And then down the line, say around 10.5 minutes, that's when our 3-basing Zerg will get his roach speed, and we'll get all the stuff that starts to actually make the 3-base so scary. So when we look at this situation, what does TitaN need to do? Well, if he's against 2-basing, he's going to need to attack before Mutalisks get up, because this is not the best formation. This push, early pushes that have good upgrades against Mutalisking players are an excellent way to deal with them. And similarly, against a sort of big roaching player, we're not going to have a lot of the big, nice answers like Blink or, I mean, our gateways are even going to be a little bit delayed as well. In short, what I'm saying is that if we wait until we have 2-2, we can even do the math right now. It's going to be, let's see, that's a little under 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes, so it's about 6 minutes. 12 minutes is round when these upgrades will finish off. That's a little bit late. We sort of know we're going to be doing a timing push, just sort of by default, unless we start to get some really useful information. I like this play from TitaN. Scouting with a Zealot. Normally I hate this play. It seems sort of awkward, but we need something a little sturdy to be able to venture outward. Because he wants to get a good sense of what's going down. Yeah. So he walks in, he spots the third. Okay, cool. So he's narrowed down a lot of his possibility set. He knows that lings and roaches are going to be what he's up against. So we see some pretty intuitive follow-ups from TitaN. By the way, for any of you wondering about what the Chronoboost distribution is, it's very easy. Chronoboost the Nexuses until you have 16 at each, and then Chronoboost elsewhere. So we're seeing it's not a massive number of gateways, just 2 and then the Twilight Council, because it's just so dang expensive to be getting the 2-2 upgrades this early. This is one of the things that's always kind of important about early 1-1 upgrades. You're never really going for a fast 1-1 attack. You're going for fast 2-2. If you want to go for a fast 1-1 attack, get a single forge early, and then go forge and ground weapon, and then follow up with the attack. Because you don't want to burn all the money on the upgrades early while leaving out the production. So almost always, like 95% of the time, early 1-1 means that you are definitely going for early 2-2. So this is kind of a awkward timing push for TitaN. He wants to be doing a nice little early move here because he wants to strike his opponent before this big money mark that comes at around 10:30 when the roach speed's done. Why on earth would TitaN want to do that? This is where we start to see the cool aspect of TitaN's play, where he's doing these alley-oop attacks. He's doing an attack to set you up for weakness so that he can hit you again later. So the later is obviously when 2-2's done. So he's going to do this small attack now with 1-1 done. It's not like a perfect 1-1 timing. It's not like 1-1 just finished and that's when TitaN is attacking. It's a little bit later than that. But what this will do is this is going to force Nerchio to build a whole bunch of units that this composition is good against. Lings and roaches. I mean, look at this. Hydra Den is going down right now. There's no chance for Nerchio to get the Mutalisks, which TitaN's composition is not so great against. So we already see TitaN sort of, okay, well, if you're definitely going to be going Ling Roach because of this attack, then I'm definitely going to be getting a Robotics Bay. So with all these units built, TitaN does kind of mess up and get surrounded, but still, the overall goal of the attack is a success. To force a whole lot of Ling Roach out of Nerchio. A lot more, or not as many Lings and Roaches as desired. Then this other sort of catastrophe winds up going down. Losing control of the front. Yuck. Not so good. Barely not getting this upgrade up in time. This is where things start to go a little bit awry. But that's fine. TitaN is just sort of building himself up for the big shove. And you can just sort of imagine, even though it didn't work, just imagine for a moment that 2-2 had just finished. This would be a very intimidating push incoming by TitaN if his attack had gone a little bit better. And then a pretty simple War Prism addition. Blink's a pretty straightforward addition as well. If 2-2 was done, this forge would likely just be on hold. It wouldn't be doing anything. It would be a 2-2 army with everything getting drilled into it. So we're seeing a really sweet build that's going to go poorly. Hence the story arc of the daily, where TitaN will be redeeming himself in part 2 and 3. This is what tends to go wrong when it is an attack early on with a follow-up attack. If the attack was mispositioned, as it was up here earlier on, specifically I will show you it was this attack. When the attack is mispositioned and it doesn't do well, it doesn't cause any slowing. Oh, whoops. 10 minutes, go. When this attack fails, in other words, when the Lings squeeze all the way up here, look at what's going on in Nerchio's base. He's on a standstill of layer production. And then as Nerchio starts to win in this attack, he throws down a Spire really easily. Roach speed finishes up. There's some Groove Spine for Hydralisk. Nope. Boom. There's the Spire going down. Ordinarily, an attack would be continuing to unfold, and with just another 30 seconds of delay, this attack from TitaN is a lot scarier. These Mutalisks that would be arriving now in Nerchio's base, if TitaN had been able to do a little more damage up here to delay just a little bit longer, this attack would be striking right as the Mutalisks hatched. But instead there's this unfortunate scenario that we see TitaN in, where he kind of has to warp in on this side. But again, we imagine, and hell, we didn't have to imagine, if this attack had been going on and the Mutalisk had just popped out, TitaN would have been in much better condition. And even then, TitaN is not in horrific position. He's done a lot of damage, he's sustained a lot of damage, and when the Mutalisks return home, or actually when the Mutalisks engage this, he can always return home with this sort of recall play. Joink. So if we sort of look at the damage that Nerchio has received, he's lost a base, he's lost a lot of drones here. Both players have done some pretty significant damage, but Nerchio manages to edge out the win. We see a lot of cool tactics used because this mothership core was built so early. It wasn't cannons for early defense, it was mothership core for early defense, because we went for 14 warp gate. So that means we get not one but two recalls very easily. And after a narrowly failed attack, TitaN is not quite going to be able to break through. So we are seeing, I guess I would call it the feel of things going a little bit wrong for this style of play we're going to be looking at from TitaN. Really creative build, really amazing set of timings. 2-2 would have been done. If his attack had done a little bit more damage, he would have been able to break through. And plus, it's just a sweet build anyways, because he gets to the 2-2 timing. And I would say that this is the reason why this style of play is so often abandoned. Why people will use this style and go, oh gosh, I need to play more standard. And, well, actually, maybe no one says. Maybe you're like, no, I just keep all-inning until it works. What was I talking about? I got totally distracted. Oh yeah, sorry. I found my train of thought. It's very easy to look at this and go like, oh, that was a dumb build. Oh, that was so stupid. But I want to just come back to this little moment because I want to show you there's a little bit of light here, and we're going to see how much it pays off in parts 2 and 3. It's this moment right here when this attack is going down. Actually, we'll pull back just a few more seconds. It's when this first attack is moving out. These upgrades are on pace to finish extremely quickly. We have a nice force approaching an attack at a good angle with good coverage. And if these sentries had been just a little bit farther down, it would have been force field, force field, force field. It would have been mass zealot reinforcements here. It would have been plenty of units to be able to withstand this attack. It would have been lots of delay for Nerchio. I mean, look at that. The pylon finished as the recall was going out. No pressure wound up on Nerchio, but if TitaN had put just these extra force fields down, then when this push occurred at 13 minutes, Mutalisks would not be hatching right now. This force would have 2-2 done, and Nerchio would be in a world of trouble. So when we come back, we're going to see same theme from TitaN. Big aggression, big attack. We're even going to see some elements of it not go perfectly for TitaN, and it is going to be amazing and overpower Nerchio with this nice attack into 2 base all-in. So stay tuned because we got more coming up. Yeah!